Hey everyone, it's Alan over at Cobblers Plus, and here's another Soul Talk Sunday episode. Thank you for joining us. Got a couple of souls here for you, so come check out what
I'm
we have.
Alan Tershkov. Join us today and enter our world of a cobbler to see the craftsmanship it takes to rebuild and restore footwear and other leather goods, as well as recommendations from our industry.
So in today's episode of Soul Talk Sunday, I decided to go kind of like two souls for very polar opposite type of things, and they could be used for very similar things as well. We're going to start out with these two right here, which are a little bit on the thinner side. You can see that I've got two that are very big, in other words, but we'll start out with the thinner ones here to get them, kind of as an introduction to these beasts right here. We're going to start out with one that some of you may have seen, some of you have never seen before. This is the Vibram Westerner, the 269 model here. It's a fairly basic looking sole, but it really isn't too basic. In other words, the way it's designed is that it's got a thicker ball of foot area for longer durability, and it has a little bit of a fine line finish, so it gives a little bit of traction and grip that way. And this particular sole, it measures out to 6.4 millimeters at the ball of the foot, and it's thinner towards the heel area here, right behind the ball of the foot, at about 4 millimeters. So you get a little bit more of a nicer kind of slim, low profile look and everything with a good amount of wear. This sole in particular, it's designed, as the name implies, a Westerner. It's designed really for Western boots mostly, but I've seen it done on dress shoes plenty of times. Looks really nice. It's a material that's kind of soft. In other words, it is made out of a rubber, by Vibram's particular rubber. So that entitles that it's much softer, but it does grip very well on smooth surfaces. It's, as you can tell, I can bend it like this just fine all around, twist and turn and everything. It stitches fine. The only dilemma is that certain builds of footwear, in other words, if it requires multiple rows of stitching, especially on Western boots that you see nowadays with those 2, 3, or even 4 rows of stitching, this sole probably won't handle it. Not only won't it handle it too well, the other thing is because it's got a little bit more of a pointed toe, those boots tend to have a more squared toe, so they might not fit, whether it's in the ball of the foot area there or at the toe. So on Western boots, this one would probably be better to keep to those traditional rounded or pointed toe or snip toe. Definitely a great sole even after this traction is worn out. I mean, it's a very small amount of traction. It looks like it's about 0.4 millimeters of what it is, maybe roughly half a millimeter, let's say. So even after that traction wears out, this rubber is going to grip fairly well for you. And because it has a thinner heel backing here, it's going to be a little bit easier to accommodate certain build styles a little bit nicer for you. Our next sole is going to be the Vibram Dress Full Sole. That's what it's called, Dress Full Sole. It's very similar to this one right here where it has the fine line. It's a little bit finer, but it's one thickness all across from toe to heel. Doesn't have that kind of difference in thickness wise. It's 6.4 millimeters, which is the same thickness as what the ball of the foot of this one is, but it's all across the same amount. Now, a few key differences is that this one's fine line traction here, that kind of really, well, in other words, fine lines, they're a little bit shallower, so they're probably closer to maybe 0.2 millimeters. It's hard to really measure out these because they're so fine, where this one is closer about the half millimeter because you can actually see it here on the side sticking out, and it's a little bit easier to measure out, where this one definitely has a much finer edge to it. As far as the material, this one is SBR, which is equivalent to what Goodyear has named as their Neolite, which it grips fairly well. It's got more of a chalky feel to it, not quite rubbery. SBR stands for Styrene-butadiene. Sorry, can't pronounce. If you want, you can check it out, but I'll write it down in the description, hopefully, if I don't forget. But this particular rubber is designed by Goodyear, basically. That particular formula, it's a combination of styrene and butadiene to create this, and then they treat the rubber in such a particular manner that it's almost like conditioned, in other words. So this one's going to grip very nicely, except not quite as well as this other Vibram here, just because it's a bit of a stiffer material. As you can tell, I can't quite bend it as easily as I could this one. I mean, this one I'll pick it up at the foot here, and this one right there. So you can see there's a huge difference there. But because it's a stiffer one, it will actually be able to withstand stitching a little bit better. Like channeling it out, it'll turn out much nicer, especially for the cobblers out there. Not all cobblers end up pre-channeling stitches, some do, but if we're going to end up pre-channeling, this one's going to be much harder because of how soft and grippy it is, and this one here will be able to handle it a lot better. The other thing is this one will be able to withstand double and triple row stitches very well. Quadruple stitch, get that stuff out of here. Even the triple stitch I'm not too happy with, but hey, can't pick or choose. Sometimes I got to do it. Just had to do a triple stitch yesterday, so it's not bad. I guess you can say it's all about the look. There's no improvement if you have extra rows of stitching. It's literally just about the appearance and the look on that. Now, I already mentioned the thickness, so if you're going to be putting this on a dress shoe, it will withstand it perfectly fine. Western boots, there may be some that it may be a little bit tricky on because, again, it's stiffer, and because it's the same thickness all across, that when you get to that bend in the arch area, it doesn't always like to cooperate. I mean, we'll still run nails through the arch area if it's not stitched, like these gripper nails, but keep in mind, problem is this is rubber, not leather, so after a period of time the nails will kind of rip through the material a little bit quicker. Because this one is so flexible, it can withstand being nailed there, and there isn't enough tension or resistance going against those nails where it'll tear through the nails in that arch area. Now if it's a Western boot that's stitched all the way around, all the way underneath the heel, meaning that if you look at the bottom of your foot or bottom of your shoe, if it's a dress shoe or if it's a Western boot, if the stitch starts all the way back here underneath the heel base, grab a pair here, there we go, one I'm still working on, but if it starts underneath this heel base and goes all the way around and connects back underneath the heel base here, then that means it can be stitched, just because that heel is usually a little bit lower on those Western boots. But if it's one like this one here, where it's got those nails, as you can see in that arch area, it's going to be a little bit more problematic, in other words. So I would definitely advise against this one on a Western boot or anything that's got a really high arch, and then we need to, well, not a high arch, a high heel counter area, then that means we have to nail it, and it just doesn't turn out very nice ever. But it channels great, so if you want especially a colored stitch like red or blue or green or whatever it may be, and we pre-channel it with a wider stitch so it's more visible on that colored thread, then this one can handle it very well. This one, it handles it, but not as beautifully as this one would right here. Now, our next one we're going to be talking about is on the polar opposites of what these first two that we've been talking about. These are what are called Logger soles, and quite literally from Vibram, this is the model 109 Logger. It's designed originally for people who do logging, to be able to wear when they're working on heavy equipment, because that heel latches a little bit better in certain equipment. There are straps that they attach to their boots that hook into this particular style of heel better when they're climbing up the trees or walking on the side of a mountain. So this sole overall was designed for that. Now, I have put this sole onto Western boots because of the type of heel it is. It actually accommodates Western boots fairly well. But as you can tell, it's a hefty sole. Solid rubber heel. It's got only a little bit of a little bit of weight reduction here in the heel. Not much, where they end up leaving that gap right there. They have to do that in order to be able to have some weight reduction. Otherwise, if this was all solid rubber, this thing would be very heavy. Now, I've seen companies that stitch this sole out of the factory right here. It can be done. I don't recommend it because the stitches end up being so uneven, and you don't channel those. You don't channel this sole. If you channel it, you're going to have very weak points, and basically it's just going to rip out chunks. You catch a corner just right, whether you're a logger, construction worker, or even just, it's a pair of boots that you wear around. You catch a corner somewhere, that little piece of rubber is going to rip, and that thread's going to come unraveled very quickly in that spot. So don't recommend it. If you have had a pair of boots that are stitched like that, wear them out, and then when you have your soles redone, I don't recommend requesting that this sole be stitched. If you really have to, if you really want to, we can. Another option also is that if you're concerned about the toes ever coming undone, these little spots right here, right where the channels are, will work out very well if we put small screws in there. I've done that as well too. We just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws right there in that toe area. Helps really reinforce that spot if you're somebody that needs to be able to stick your toe under something and pry it up. There's some jobs that require it. As far as traction goes, obviously this is the lug pattern. Some people call it the waffle pattern. It's a great grip, very durable. As far as the particular traction, however, this does trap a lot of mud and dirt. So if you're going to be going inside of a house or a building, you're going to track a lot of mud and slush and grime. There's no real way for that stuff to escape out of this sole. Unfortunately, that's the dilemma with lug pattern. It grips beautifully, it grips very nicely, especially if you're working around construction work type scenarios on hardwood floors. If you're walking up beams and everything works nicely. As far as overall reinforcement, the heel, obviously, as you can tell, it's very big and hefty. They didn't make the channels too deep in some of the areas here on the heel, allowing for a longer wear period, because if you're somebody that wears your heels out very fast, you'll wear it out about that far, and that's when you want to replace it anyways, if anyone can see that. So right about there, in other words. And so that means that it's time to replace it. We could just do the heels. If you still have plenty of wear on the ball of the foot, we end up cutting off a portion, then we put a new heel over top of that. There are different options and variants for those heels. Sometimes that they're not necessarily a Vibram either. As far as the sole area here, the traction's got a few wide points, but right here at the toe, it becomes a little bit denser. There's not much gap between the tread patterns, not much of a channeling there. Well, not wide at least, but that will definitely help reinforce the toe area if you're somebody that wears out your toes fairly fast. Now, as far as the material goes, it's the same as this previous one. We looked at SBR, which again, the same exact category. It's a little bit stiffer. The only reason why it's flopping over right here is because that's a very thin spot. But if I hold it right there, it doesn't flop around when I hold it a little bit in a more better area, in other words. So it's a dense, harder material. Again, the harder materials will withstand stitching, but I still don't advise it, at least on this one, because there's so much transition with that traction there. There's transition from thin to thick very quickly, and on a machine that's not good, and on the stitches themselves, and when you're wearing it, it's not a good idea. Thickness wise, this one here is 44.4 millimeters at the heel, so very big, and at the ball of the foot it's 12.7 millimeters. Again, very thick, very hefty sole. This is probably going to be one of your heftiest soles that you're going to come across from Vibram. Now our last sole is in that same family as the Vibram 109 Logger, but this here is the 1286 Tacoma sole. As far as the thickness goes, it's exactly the same as this one here at 44.4 at the heel and 12.7 at the ball of the foot. The materials are the same as well. It's the SBR, same exact thing. There's no difference between these two. The real difference is quite literally the traction. I mean, that's a really interesting one, doesn't it look like it? I like this one personally. I don't have any boots that I would put it on, but if I ever do, this is the sole that I would go with. The particular traction's got wider channeling here, so it's going to squeeze out mud and slush a little bit better overall. The way it's designed and everything, it grips, I would say, a little bit better in the logger industry, my personal opinion, from what I've experienced talking to some of the guys that actually are into doing logger type work. So definitely something I would recommend if your boots originally came with this sole. That's usually what most boots come with from the factory, is this the lug pattern, the original logger style. This is kind of a newer version. Now, the design of this one in particular, as you can tell, it's got a much heftier toe area, so it's gonna wear a lot longer on the toe than this one here. It's a lot heftier, less channeling going on. There's only 2 spots, so that would be basically the area that you would end up running screws in. Because of how wide these channels are, no way should you stitch this. No way. I mean, it can be accomplished, but don't do it. If you're a cobbler, if you are requesting this sole from your local cobbler and you want it stitched, don't go with this sole. Then if you're really adamant about it being stitched, you got to stick with the logger, because those gaps between the channels there are extremely wide, and those are just going to be extremely weak points at that level there. Now, as far as the heel here, it's got a little less density in the heel than this one does, so there's a lot more channeling. It's going to grip better. Your heel's going to be able to dig into whatever it is, especially if you're going downhill, dig into things a lot better, but it's going to wear out a little bit faster than the original waffle, I don't want to say waffle, the original lug pattern one here, just because there's a lot more channeling going on in this area. This one overall, it's really designed for the grip aspect of it. Again, you can use it on Western boots as well, logger boots, work boots a lot of times too. The way that the heel also, that I've noticed, is designed between the two. The original logger heel, the heel is sloped inward a little bit, so it comes inward like that there, which isn't bad. It's fairly common. But this one, however, is sloped the opposite direction. It's facing outward. So if you're walking down a hill, this one's going to catch a lot better. If you have certain type of harnesses or straps that you need to be able to get your foot into, motorcycles for example too, this one's going to hook in a lot better. It's going to grab the material nicer, or mud or slush, whatever it is. It's going to overall just, it's designed to grip much more significantly than this one. So you're kind of on 2 very high extremes on them. Again, like I mentioned, as far as thicknesses, same exact at 44.4 and 12.7 at the ball to foot, and same material, SBR, on that one there. Now, as far as comparing these, I can't really compare these 2 categories together, but I will mention first origins, where these are all manufactured and made. All 4 soles are made here in the US. All of them, you know, if you're going to be after a nice rubber sole, whether it's nice flat dress one or something on the heftier side, you're going to be supporting American business, American made, and American jobs with these 4 soles. So definitely awesome picks. Now, comparing these 2 here, they're very comparable, I would say, side by side. I mean, traction wise, you're definitely going to have better traction all around with this one right here, the Westerner, the 269, just because the material is softer, it's more sticky, and also the traction here, that fine line's a little bit thicker, so it's going to grip better, but don't expect it to grip in mud, slush, and dirt and all that, just because it's very fine, very minimal traction altogether. If it's going to be a nice evening out type of wear for a boot or a dress shoe or anything, it's perfect for that. It's going to have nice long wear. If somebody spills something on a smooth floor, so you have a wet floor, it's going to grip fairly well in that. This one, however, I mean, it'll grip definitely better than, say, leather, for example, but it's not going to grip as nicely as this one here. Durability wise, I would definitely have to give this one the upper hand, the dress sole, the 268, just because it's a little bit of a denser rubber. It's the same type of rubber as what's used on these heavy soles here, so I'll definitely have to give this one the upper hand for durability. Stitchability, both of them can be stitched, but if you're wanting something that's gonna be more presentable, showing off the stitch, or a little bit more traditional looking, this is the way to go. If you want something that's going to be accommodated a little bit more for that nice tapered ball or arch area underneath there, or it'll show off the shank, for example, if you have a nice little rounded shank underneath it, or a Western boot, this is definitely going to be the option to go with. I don't recommend channeling this one too much to open it up and show the stitches, again, because it's a softer rubber. Softer rubber is under heavier tension with the stitch. They can be a little finicky sometimes. Harder materials are always the better way to go when it comes to stitching them and having a wide open channel to show off a red or blue stitch or pink or purple, whatever you pick. So kind of gives you a few options on which direction you'd like to go with. Nailing them, if there's not too much bend at all, this one will hold up a lot better against a pair of shoes or a pair of boots if they need to be nailed down right here in that arch area or anywhere else. If there's not too much bend, it'll hold up very well for a long period of time. But if it's a pair of Western boots, for example, that has a really extreme bend, extreme angle, unfortunately that resistance is going to start pulling those nails, and they're just going to rip through the rubber itself. Where this one is on the exact opposite, because it's a thinner material, and you don't have enough other material there to hold it all together. Sometimes during the process of nailing it to a very low heel, it can potentially end up ripping through that rubber, and so this one works a lot better on something that's got an extreme angle for it as well. I have actually come across a few times where this one right here, the Westerner, was used on some ladies' shoes. So hey, ladies, if you want something that's a little interesting looking, this would actually work very well on ladies' high heel or a wedge. Well, some wedges maybe, but just want to point that out real quick. All right, so we've got those ones set aside there. Personal pick. It's hard for me to pick between these two. I like them both. I guess you can say for Western boots, this is definitely going to be my pick for sure. For shoes, this one, just like the names imply, men's dress full sole versus Westerner. I'm going to stick to that myself too. That's how I would prefer it. Now there may be some very exclusive men's dress shoes that are on the very high end scale that I would go with this one here, just because of the way everything's designed underneath. It's just going to make that arch area with that shank kind of bulge out just a little bit, and it looks a lot better with that particular sole. But overall, for regular traditional dress shoes, or this is the route to go that I would go with. But for Western boots, it's an alright sole. I mean, I like this one a little bit more for sure. But moving on to these ones here, the Logger style side-by-side comparison. Traction wise, definitely this one hands down has got a better traction for sure. The way it's designed, the way the heel's angled and everything, it's gonna grip overall much better. This one's definitely not gonna be bad. It's gonna be very grippy compared to a lot of other soles out there that I've come across, but I've got to give it to the Tacoma here, the 1286 Tacoma, where the traditional Logger, again, it's going to grip nicely, but not that much. Durability wise, both are the same material, both are the same thickness all across the board, but the Logger I would give the upper hand to on that for sure, just because the way that they reinforce the heel area, and that's usually the first section that gets worn out on the heel. The toe area, it gets wear. The Tacoma will probably have the upper hand on the toe durability because of how dense that toe is there. There isn't much channeling or anything going on. But sorry about the interruption, but yeah, durability wise, definitely is going to go to this Logger for sure. Overall, the sole is going to be a little bit on the heftier side altogether. As far as the wide walls here around the heel, they're about the same. This one does have a little bit more heft in the center post, where this one's a little bit thinner. So they're kind of opposites, I guess you can say, where this one's concentrated more on the traction, this one's concentrated a little bit more on traditional style durability. But both very durable, both have great traction. same exact thicknesses all across the board for both of them. Work great on Western boots, work boots, logger boots, trucker boots, motorcycle shoes. I don't know. That might be an interesting one if we find somebody that would want this on a pair of shoes, but I don't. Nah, I'd probably advise against it because these are kind of heavy. You got to take that into consideration. So if you got a pair of shoes, there's a good chance that your shoe's gonna fall off. So disregard that. Don't put them on shoes. Don't request it. But as far as which one I prefer, I would have to go with the Tacoma. Traction for me is something I prefer. I mean, durability wise, these are very, very close. I mean, there's only minor differences as far as the durability goes from the way they're designed. The toe is going to wear out. It's going to take a lot longer to wear out the toe on this one, but the heel, because the way it's designed, will probably wear out a little bit quicker. Not significantly more, I would say, but Tacoma would be my personal pick. If you are somebody that really wears out your heels badly, or even overall your soles, you probably want to stick towards the original 109 Logger, and I'd leave that decision up to you on what you'd like to go with. So those are the soles for this week's Sole Talk Sunday. I apologize, I haven't been able to get a lot of videos out. As I can tell, some of you, if you're watching for the first time, we just got done moving recently, and there's a lot of chaos going everywhere right now. Family, at the home, business, everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. There's something going on constantly. So I'm a little bit delayed and held back on doing some of these videos, so be patient. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos. It does take a bit of time, of course, to record it. Like right now, I'm doing this when we're finally closed after hours instead of going home. And once I go home tonight, I gotta start uploading or editing, and that takes a while. After editing, then I finally start uploading, processing it, and so on. So thank you for everyone who's patient with me and not dogging me for not posting every single Sunday like I was hoping for and the way I started out. But hopefully once everything is kind of on track, might be closer to spring, that I might finally have everything on track officially here in the shop. As you can tell, things are still being organized, cleaned up. We're still waiting on other things to come into. Springtime, hopefully we'll be taking care of it, because we've got a lot more soles to go through, not only from Vibram but from a few other brands as well. So definitely stay tuned for those. If you've been enjoying the videos, thank you very much for watching and enjoying them. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and the notification bell icon to be notified when we have our next video up, any live streams or any other things going on. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Swing on by if you're local here in the Denver area. If you're not local, you can always give us a call, send us a message. You can find all of our contact information on our website at cobblersplus.com. And as always, if you need us to work on anything, you could always ship it in through our website as well. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.